Yo, what's good, people? It's another episode of Volatility 75 price action chart analysis. We want to look at how we can take market approach, make our entries, our exits, profits or losses, so that we may learn something. So, welcome once again to this fine episode of price action chart analysis. Okay, so as you all know, we do top-down analysis, so we will just go straight and direct to our 24-hour or a daily candle, so that we may be able to identify our key zones. So on the daily time frame, I don't advocate, not unless you're a swing trader, but personally I'm a scalp trader. I scalp or I day trade, so I don't advocate having so many things on your chart space. So keep it as simple as possible. Just identify the current zones that may influence your chart as per that particular time or day or next 1 day or two. So I'll just do as I've explained. So I identify my first trend line, as you can see from above here. So I believe that you or most people understand price action, that we have a touch here, we have another touch here, another touch here, another touch here. So that is a resistance trend line for us. Then we want to see why the market took this impulsive move right here. Okay, so we identify that the market is taking this impulse move because we had a double bottom kind of structure that was possibly retested on the lower time frame. So we will just highlight it as it is. As you can see, the double bottom structure. So we had this impulse move to the down, then our double bottom structure broke, failed to retest on the daily, but on the lower time frames I'm sure we might have retested it. Then the market continued up. Sorry. So I will just go down to one of my favorite time frames, that is the hour 8 time frame. On the hour 8 time frame, let's see what we are supposed to be looking at. So we can identify that this particular trend line is quite strong. Maybe I can change these markers to something a little bit darker that you can see that way. So we have this zone here, a touch here, another touch here. Okay. Then we also have a touch here that was well respected. So with that, we identify that this particular trend line is very strong. Okay, so I like drawing it with a zone, just as we draw our supports. Let me just undo all this. Okay, so I like drawing it as a zone, something of this sort. So we have the trend line somewhere about here. So begin to get the zones as they are. Okay, so I also identify on the H8 that we have a very super strong resistance here from the above zone somewhere here. Okay, so as you can see, we have a very strong resistance touch there. We have a touch, and that is what is currently affecting the market to have this rally of the cells that came from above here. So with that, we know that we have a very beautiful skeleton structure of the higher time frame. I like calling it like that, or the eagle structure. Okay, an eagle sees things better from above. So when you're on the higher time frames, this is your eagle structure. It helps you identify what is currently happening to the market, so that you may react accordingly. Okay, so we move directly to the next time frame, because I don't think there's anything else I'm saying, lest I've missed it, but I think that is what I've been having. Okay, so on the 4-hour time frame, I also identified this particular trend line, but I didn't want to keep my charts dirty or congested. There was this particular trend line. I knew it was there. but I saw no need of putting it on the previous chart work. Why? Because the chart might have a lot of congestions and too much information. It might give a very bad picture. Yeah, so I knew this trend line was here, so identifying this area here, this was a very, very good sell zone. Why? Because it is on a double. Yeah, it's a double entry. There are people who are looking at it from this trend line perspective, and there are some who are looking from this horizontal resistance perspective. So that gives you a very, very good a very, very good zone to look for your sales. Okay, yeah, so under the H4, maybe for the sake of those who are still learning, I'll just keep the trend line here, like that. Then on the 4-hour time frame, I want to look at the specifics. Okay, these are the things that most people miss. Yeah, these are the things that most people miss. Okay, so I understand, or I see from this area we have a very, very good trend line here, but this is also noise. As you may see, this is also part of the noise that we are trying to avoid. So I would love to keep it out of the chart now, but let's identify another zone here. We see that we had a beautiful head and shoulder, a failed head and shoulder for that matter, somewhere around here. So I love using the lines so that I may cater for body touches, weak touches precisely, not to miss anything. So this is where the market is currently trending at. Okay, now at the H4 you may also want to cater for touches to the T. Okay, so when we were looking at the daily time frame, identified this sell here as a double bottom to the buy reversals. Okay, so when you go to the H4, you will see that this happened to be a head and shoulder. Okay, and this was a very, very powerful signal. So we had sorry, let me just stretch this one here to this area here. I told you I love using lines so that I can see from where to precise candlestick touches. So we had a very tiny shoulder here, yeah, another shoulder somewhere here, we had a head here, a head, then market fell, then we had another shoulder, another shoulder here, a failed shoulder, as you can see, and this is where we broke out, retested, and we took off for the buys. So if you can remember well, on the daily time frame, it showed that we did not have any kind of retestment to this area. Okay, but when you use your H4, you identify this as your breakout, okay, and this as your retest. Good. Now having that in mind, we know where the buy comes from. So we go back to this structure here. It was a very nice structure. If you use your line chart, you'll see that it was a head and shoulder, but it failed. A lot of people were trapped around this area because they took sales. You really need to understand your candlestick behavior and candlestick pattern. So so as you can see, let me just skeleton it for you. Head, a shoulder here, another shoulder, double shoulder, then a head. We had the breakout. If you did not catch the sell from this area, okay, it needs a lot of experience or some good time of on your chart so that you may be able to take such kind of trades with less confirmation, which is risky. Then we came and most people took sales here, which in a very they failed, as you can see. So the market broke out, we tested this area, and we continued for buys. So currently, as we say that we are day traders, so I now love giving details to my chart work. Something like this, a little bit of spicing, coloring, just to keep the charts a little bit attractive and your eyes attentive to the main zones. So somewhere like that. Okay, so I also see that we most likely we are having a head and shoulder somewhere here. So a lot of head and shoulders have been happening recently, and this is the sell that we caught from. I'll just share a post. You'll see it. It'll appear on your right side or left side of the screen. So we had a shoulder, then a head, break, shoulder. We took ourselves here to this exit somewhere around here. So currently what we are expecting the markets to do, possibly, it might or might not. So we are expecting either the market from this area of demand, you see it was a demand zone here, okay? So we are expecting either the markets will push back up or them to push back down, break, retest, then we may continue sales to possibly to around this area here. Let's mark this area here. This area here, okay? So this is what we expect, or this is not expect, this is what we are seeing the possibilities of the market. Ours is to analyze, then we place our trades knowing well our stop loss, where our stop loss are, our TPs are, and what the market might do while we are in the trade, so that we may not interfere, or we may interfere where possible, okay? So this is what we are expecting. So that is all for VIX75. I like leaving it at H4 because I don't like doing the noisy part of it, H1, H2, but it is good to look at those time frames just to get a little bit of details on what is happening in the markets. So having said that, I think that will be the end of the video. Thank you so much for staying with us to this particular point. Meet you on the other video where we may share more, and a lot even on VIX25. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe.